Okay, what do boys need to learn in order to become good men? Integrity, courage, kind, loyal, thankful, honorable, humble, very good. Not afraid to what? Aha, men? all men have an easy time admitting when they're wrong, don't they? What about humor? Do you know that humor is the most cited thing that kids say that they admire about their dad is that he's funny? That's a good list of positive characteristics for what a good man should have. Now, typically when I would do this with single moms, many of whom had never been raised by a father, many of whom had never had men in their lives at all, at least positive men, they would say, well, I don't know what characteristics to try to instill in my boy to make him a good man. And then we would do this, and I would say, but you do know. This is what they are right here. These are the characteristics that you need to instill in your boy to make a good man. Here's the best story I can say of what I think is a good man. The Friday after 9/11, my friend Jim had asked me to go to lunch with him. Jim is the pastor of a small startup church here out in Gresham. And so we went to the restaurant, and we were standing in line to order our food. And Jim leaned over to me and whispered, he said, Rick, at noon, I'm going to pray out loud like President Bush asked everybody to do on Friday at noon. And he said, you know, do you have any suggestions on how I can do this? I mean, he was pretty scared about it. And I was like, you know, better you than me, you know, kind of a thing. And you know, that's actually the way I felt about it too. And so we got our food and we sat down. And a few minutes before 12, he stood up and he said, you know, I don't want to offend anybody, but President Bush asked us to pray for our country at noon, and we're going to do that at our table, and I'd like to invite anybody over that wants to do that to join us. And he sat back down, and nobody came over. And we sat there, and I'll admit, frankly, I was a little bit embarrassed about how this was all going to play out. Right before 12, a young mother with a little boy came over and said, can I sit at your table? I think what you guys are doing is great. And they sat down, and Jim started to pray out loud, and I would estimate that he prayed about 20 minutes. And a very busy restaurant. The whole time he was praying, I never heard the door open. I never heard any music. I never heard any sound around the restaurant. And he prayed for our country. He prayed for our president. He prayed for the military. He prayed for the families and the victims of the 9/11 attack. And when he was done, I opened up my eyes and I was amazed. Every person in that restaurant, including all the cooks and servers, were standing around our table with their heads bowed, many of them with tears in their eyes. And the owner of the restaurant, excuse me, came over, and she had tears in her eyes and said that, you know, we could come in and do that anytime that we wanted in that restaurant. It was a very powerful situation of a man being a leader, and I'm really excited about the example that that young mother showed of breaking the fear to come over, because it allowed everybody else in the restaurant, and the example that she exhibited for her son.